Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to try something new. It's been very gloomy here lately and I've been in such a cozy mood, so I wanted to share that with you. Ideally, this is a video you can watch before bed or whenever you want to relax. I also wanted to say thank you so much for being here and I hope you enjoy. But before we get started, here's the illustration we'll be working on. This started out as a digital illustration, but I really wanted that traditional look, and sometimes the best way to do that is to, well, draw it traditionally. But if you're like me and you don't have a light box, this is what you can do to transfer your drawings. I grabbed some printer paper and essentially used my iPad as a light source and carefully traced over the digital sketch using a blue Stabilo liner pen. Then I used a graphite pencil to go over it again on the back so I could stamp the sketch onto my sketchbook. If you have a printer, you can skip this step and just print your sketch onto whatever size paper you'd like. Then use a light source like a window or your iPad to trace the back of your sketch with the pencil. But unfortunately, I ran out of printer ink at the worst time, so I had to do this extra step. I should really invest in a light box because it makes this process so much more easier. I know Christmas is coming up soon, so if you're an artist looking for gift ideas, or if you know an artist in your life who likes working traditionally, this could make a great gift. Wink, wink. Anyway, here I positioned the paper onto my sketchbook the way I wanted, and now I'm using that same graphite pencil to press down on all the line work. I'm also making sure that my paper doesn't move and that I'm pressing down really hard because I want it to stamp onto the page neatly and visibly. I'm also working from left to right because I'm right-handed and I want to avoid smudging the pencil all over the place. It won't affect your drawing or anything unless you smudge your arm and forget to clean it before you start painting, but I'd rather avoid it altogether. By the way, doing this can require some patience, especially if you're tracing the line work exactly as you see it. In this case, I ran out of patience at certain points and I just started scribbling, which makes the process faster, but you also risk not having that perfect stamp. But at this point, I've traced over this exact sketch like 3 times now, so you can see I lose my patience a little bit and I kind of go crazy with the pencil. And now for the great reveal! Yay! Now I'm going to use my kneaded eraser to start erasing a bit from the bottom up so I don't smudge or lose the stamp. Because I am working with watercolor, I'm going to go over the line work once again with a red Cool Erase color pencil because I don't want my painting to be muddy. Once again, this requires a lot of patience, so I definitely think investing in a light box is a great idea, especially if you love to go from digital to traditional media frequently. Personally, I love working digitally and traditionally equally. It just depends on the vibe I'm going for in the illustration and the mood I'm in. In this case, like I said in the beginning of the video, I started off the illustration on Procreate, but after finishing the line work, I realized I wanted more of a quote-unquote real feel to it, if that makes sense. And I feel like sometimes that's really hard for me to replicate digitally because I tend to continuously fix mistakes because of how convenient it is to do so. I love a good wonky line, imperfections, seeing all the textures come to be, and watching the paint flow and mix together. And I feel like that result is easier to achieve when it's harder to manipulate the supplies I'm using. For example, when working with watercolor on paper, you can't overwork it or the paper will get damaged. But on Procreate, you can use a watercolor brush and erase it, which is so cool. But as a perfectionist who's actively trying not to be one, it can take so long to create something. And in my opinion, the result doesn't feel as genuine. I can always pinpoint areas where I should have left it alone to make it feel more organic rather than fixing the lines or the bleeding. Anyway, before we finally get to the painting, I'm going to use my kneaded eraser once again to erase the rest of the graphite pencil that was left. This will also erase the red pencil, but not completely. I'm going to be using my travel art kit for this painting, and I'm using my custom watercolor palette and some basic water brushes. I've been using my kit a lot at home, and I think it has a lot to do with how easy it is to pull out and have a variety of supplies in one bag. I think it's also helped me a lot with sketching more regularly than I have before and keeping me motivated to paint traditionally. Even if you don't draw outside often, I would definitely recommend building your own kit for those reasons alone. Before making my own watercolor palette, I would use acrylic gouache for most, if not all, of my previous sketches and paintings, and I really miss it. It's been so long since I worked with it, and maybe it has a lot to do with setting everything up, but I think maybe in my next painting or whatever I do next, I will involve that. It's so nice to switch things up here and there and come back to things you enjoyed. It always feels like a new experience. Anyway, I just wanted to check in. How are you doing? How's life going? It's getting close to the end of the year and holidays are coming up, and I feel like a lot of us spend this time reflecting, and it can be quite stressful. I've definitely been feeling a little weird lately. I'm not certain if I tend to get seasonal depression or if it was just something I experienced last year. I don't remember how I felt the year before, but I think I'm starting to feel a little sad. I wouldn't necessarily say it's seasonal depression just yet. I think I'm just sad that another year has passed. I turned 25 this year, and although that's still very young, I can't help but feel old. It's the oldest I've been. And time is just going to continue to fly, and I'll keep getting older, hopefully, and then I'll die. It's really hard to articulate exactly how this makes me feel. Like, knowing that there's nothing I can do about that truth rather than be here for the ride. And I also don't know how vulnerable I want to be just yet. And I don't want to trigger anyone, but it's so scary. It feels like just yesterday I was a teenager, and don't get me wrong, growing up was tough. I'd much rather be where I am now than be where I was as a teenager, but for some reason I just wish I could be younger a little longer, but time doesn't work that way. And for some reason, being 24 or being 23 or 22 felt so much different than being 25. It's so true when people say you can feel your brain fully develop, because that definitely happened, and I don't know, it's insane. I also feel a little childish because I still feel like I don't know how to navigate the world. And when you're in your early 20s, I feel like that's socially acceptable. But once you hit your mid 20s, it's like, come on out, grow up. That's not cute or quirky anymore. I'm also not exactly where I thought I'd be at this age, but with all the craziness happening in the world, I don't know if that was ever an option for me. I feel like a lot of people around me have it all figured out, or it seems like they have all their ducks in order, but my ducks, oh my god, my ducks are all over the place. Please, ducks, get in line. Or maybe it just hasn't happened for me yet. Or maybe something better than I could ever imagine is waiting for me, and maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm not the first person to ever feel this way, and I won't be the last. I think this is just part of the human experience, and although it's unfortunate, it's kind of cool that someone out there feels the same way I do. It truly makes me feel so connected. If you're also feeling this way, or if you've ever felt this way, what helps you keep your mind occupied? I think practicing gratitude helps me the most. I think it's so easy to fall into the trap of seeing everything in a negative way, and it's challenging to truly focus on the little things. For example, autumn and winter can be hard for me sometimes because the days are shorter, and although I hate the summer heat, I miss the sun. But I also love that I can finally start layering again and pull out my favorite hoodies and sweatshirts. I'm also so grateful that the temperature where I am is finally cool, so I can enjoy a walk outside without melting. And I love a good pumpkin or maple scented candle. The lights seem to feel warmer and shine brighter. I love seeing all the holiday lights people put out, listening to moody music, eating sweets, having soup, watching movies, and just being around friends and family. I feel like everything has its own time to shine, and in my opinion, getting cozy in bed always feels good, but somehow it just feels richer during this time of year. But besides this time of year, I'm reflecting on the whole year in general, and although I feel like I'm not where I thought I'd be, I did accomplish a lot. I made lots of art that I'm so proud of. I tried new things. I traveled to new places. I got engaged. I made time for my family and friends and spent quality time with them. I've also continued with sharing my art and a bit of myself on my YouTube channel, and it's been a little over a year now, and I've gained about 1,500 subscribers, which is insane. And I'm so grateful that over 1,500 of you care about my silly little drawings and words I have to share. And I can't wait to continue sharing and growing with you. Before closing out the video, I'd like to invite you to take a little moment here with me to think about maybe 3 things you're feeling grateful for. No matter how big or small, I'd love to hear about it if you're open to share. Back to the drawing. I really like how it turned out, but I also went on Procreate to fix some of the colors and some of the lines. Here's the finished product. If you're still watching this video, thank you so much for listening to me ramble a bit about how life is scary and how I cope. I'm so grateful for you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see my future videos. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!